Welcome to Stop Let's Team Up, episode 113, Stargirl and the Lost Children. Whoop! Yes, I did cover all this issue by issue when it was coming out, but I've got a plan to cover the Justice Society 12 issues by Johns. So as a pre that, I've asked Kirby. Say hi, Kirby.
Hi, Ross. Thanks for bringing me on to talk
Right.
some Geoff Johns and
Yeah.
Stargirl.
Yes, so I thought we should go over this because it is all part of a greater plan that didn't pan out, which is okay. We did get some good stuff from the New Golden Age, I think. We'll talk about that later. But this Stargirl Lost Children is special. So I wanted to, since it's the first, it is what Johns primed the New Golden Age with. So we're going to talk very quickly through it as a whole, but what we're talking about overall is the Spring Break, the Golden Age #1, and then the Lost Children. So first, let's. This is the first time you've been on to talk, John. So I hadn't thought about that. Let me talk to first. When did you discover Stargirl or Star Spangled Kid? When did you discover her? Because she's a very important character to me.
Right. So, quickly, like when I was starting to try and follow comics regularly, we're talking like right after Sinestro Corps War ended, and I was reading 52. So I'm at like peak Johns, and I think I first met Stargirl in like a random JSA trade I found at the library.
Really?
I think it's like volume 5 or 6. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. So she is always kind of one of this perennial. She's a staple in the DC universe in my mind.
She
it's
was,
like, yeah,
she was for a while.
Yeah.
I think I'm concerned that she's not in Lemire's JSA. And that's just me because I think she should be in the JSA always.
If you were to say, hey, who needs 7 characters who need to be in the JSA, she's taken up one of those slots for me.
Yeah, I think she is such, because of Johns and because of his character is a memorial to his sister.
Correct.
So I think it's great. So what did you think? Let's kind of go through this. Let's do the Spring Break. I wasn't expecting a lot of this, just that they were doing it and that ToddNauk was going to draw it because Lee Mulder was dead, Yeah. You didn't have a creator, and if you were going to switch that art for anybody else, I don't think this I wouldn't have thought of him, which makes me sad because I love him. I love him in Young Justice when he drew Young Justice. That it is the perfect transition.
Yeah, the only other person I could think of that would even kind of work would have been like Amanda Connor, but I think Nauk makes for a great.
Yeah, Amanda Connor would be really good because she can go from naturalistic to cartoony, and it needs a little bit of a cartoony feel.
It really does, and I think this series, he knocks it out of the park throughout this entire.
I think this is the best work he's ever done. I think that he fell out of favor because of his style. And I think he's been doing a lot of covers.
Man,
and if they come back, well, I think there are people that want to see Lee and that. They want either the hyper real or the scoopy, the really dark, like image stuff. But I think there's a good mix because there are a lot of people that have a cartoony element. I think Dave Gibbons has a cartoony element.
He does.
It's very animation, it's not very animation cell almost.
Mm-hmm. It's like Dave Gibbons has more like in relation to like his Watchmen even just has more relation to this than it does Jim Lee or Eric Larson or pick a more modern reference for Kirby here.
Yeah, no, it is. It's so good. It's like he's like a Ron Friends to me. Ron Friends could do it.
That Ron Friends. When was the last time I saw Ron Friends? That's just a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
Semi-rhetorical.
I think he's doing like indie stuff. But I like Ron Friends. I'd buy a comic book.
I do too.
Paul Lim could draw her.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so there are other, Alan Davis, Mike McCone loves to do covers for her. So, but, so basically this is a reforming of the Seven Soldiers of Victory We find out a lot of retroactive continuity, but so let's start with the big one, because this we talked about, is this part of the 5G, which was going to be Deodato's? Was it Deodato who got fired?
Yeah, Didio finally got fired.
He got fired. He did good and bad.
He got quit, maybe.
Yeah, he quit because they said no to this big event. It was the biggest. He wanted to try to. My problem with DC and all the events is they try to fix stuff and they just don't fix it. Stop trying to fix it. Pick a lane, tweak where necessary, like they did after Crisis with Hawkman. I like the tweak on Hawkman because they made a bad decision by saying, and I didn't mind Wonder Woman being later and Black Canary being a founding member. The second Black Canary being a founding member, and that you find out that the first Hawkman in Justice League was the Golden Age. I liked all that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That worked.
But you need to move on and just take the characters and tell new stories with them and stop trying to always fiddle with the past.
And or trying to shoehorn it in. I know I thought of it, and as someone who was reading comics starting 6 and 7 years into the Marvel Universe, and maybe 6 or 7 about 10 years into the modern DC stuff, that continuity was easy. You could imagine it all took place in the last 5 years. But now that you don't want the heroes to age, you can say that it's always, what's the DC rule? 10 years from Superman's first appearance? It's always 10 years.
Which not in my continuity, where Superman's easily in his mid-40s, but that's neither here nor there.
I think he's 40. I think you make him and Batman 40, and you make Hal 45 or nearing 50, and Ollie's 50.
Yeah, okay, I'm good with that, and that's why the casting for that Lantern show is like, oh, okay, I'm cool with that.
No, he should be. I liked it when they gave him Reed Richards' hair and said he was older than the rest of them.
Yeah, no, I think that works.
So, what did you think of the fact that Ollie and Roy are the Golden Age? They fought Clock King, they got thrown into the past, they got trapped, it traumatized them, but they got home eventually.
Yes. I think that makes perfect, absolute sense. Yeah, and it's like, I get it why you wouldn't do it right after Crisis on Infinite Earths, where it's like, look, you have Mike Grell wanting to tell more quote-unquote realistic Green Arrow stories. You don't want to have him also have to deal with, like, oh, by the way, we time traveled. I think this makes for a way cleaner continuity for the Silver Eight, for the Seven Soldiers.
Because it gives you a reason to why Roy is fucked up. That was trauma. Oh. You're stuck for 4 or 5 years. You're stuck for 4 years in the past. Will you ever get home? The trauma, and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
And they do it in this without it turning this book real dark and morose. It's still a Stargirl comic.
Yep. Because, like, they mentioned, Ollie still blames himself every time Roy relapses, but it's not dwelled upon.
No, it's just,
it's not really...
And they never say his addiction is tied to it. You just go there, and it makes sense.
Yeah, you go from one to B, yeah.
Yeah, and it allows you to write off all of Roy's badly written behavior. Because Wolfman and Perez, and before that, even in Haney, that Speedy was the Titan that always got in trouble and was not. That's why he wasn't in a lot of runs, because they felt he was because of the addiction story. Mm-hmm. He had to be darker.
Yeah.
And I think they fucked Roy up a lot. I think at times he's good. I think in later Titans, after Wolfman, there are a couple really odd lineups.
Yep.
And he was the linchpin of some of those, and I liked them. But I like this fix. And this is the first time I ever read this Red Arrow. I still have not read her origin stuff.
Same here. So I think she was introduced in the Arrow show, and she was one of those characters they brought over. I'm not 100% on that.
It may be, because I got burned out on that. Flash was the only one, and I still didn't even make it to the end of the Flash.
Oh, I think I only made it through 6 seasons of Flash.
I liked a lot of the Flash. I think he was a good Flash.
I think
I think he's the Barry I like.
Yeah.
It's awful.
And even then, he's mostly Wally with a Barry name attached to it.
But it's exactly who he is, because they're the
Yeah.
funnest. So I liked all the. I like that. I like that they're going on this mission. For the Seven Soldiers, I like all of that. It was nice to see them all back together.
Especially this Crimson Avenger.
I
who
love
appeared
this Crimson
during.
Avenger.
Yes. Okay, this might be something whenever you get to it in Star City or Opal State Confidential. Is I remember her like being hinted at being Michael Halt's supposedly deceased wife. I could be dead wrong on that, but that's why I kind of remember of like them hinting at it.
Oh, I gotta look that up when we talk. But I like that they tied it into the origin, what was it? Whatever happened to.
Oh, okay. So that's I have read that story and whatever happened to the Crimson Avenger from that DC Comics Presents. I wasn't sure if that was actually adapting anything. So if that's the first place where that showed up,
it was written for that.
Okay, great, because that was my note.
All right, I'm
Yep,
looking up the more recent Crimson Avenger. Did they give her a name? Oh shit.
I don't think they ever gave her a name, and that was part of like what was hinting.
Oh, Jill Carlisle.
Oh well, I could be dead wrong.
Lee Walters, Albert Elwood. Oh, there was a second in World's Finest 131. There was a guy called The Mystery of the Crimson Avenger. Adopt the guys attempted to help Superman. I'm gonna have to look that up. A female Crimson Avenger first appeared in Stars and Stripe 9, created by Geoff Johns and Scott Collins. This version, like the original El Diablo, served as a minor spirit of vengeance. She was an African-American woman who possessed the power of teleportation, intangibility. In a flashback scene, she revealed that Carlisle studied law, but apparently lost a case in which the defendant was clearly guilty. She attained a pair of Colt pistols previously owned by the first Crimson Avenger and used them to enact vengeance upon the criminal. The guns were cursed, blah, blah, blah. So I did not realize it was all tied to. You know what? Oh, no, not that El Diablo. No, okay. There is an El Diablo that will never comic that is amazing, with Mike Paraback art, but will never get reprinted.
Oh yeah. Oh, is
Pedo Man wrote it.
Gerard Jones.
Yeah, it's a great comic. Yeah. He's a great character.
That's the problem I have. It's like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah. Because it's a good comic, and I would recommend it. It's like Mosaic.
Yep. God. Problematic creators. That's that's an episode on itself.
Yeah, it's like the ones that people complain about are the ones that don't do anything bad and keep writing sometimes, and the other ones that are like, that dude touched kids. What the fuck? Did he write a good comic? Yeah, but he's never getting out of jail. Yeah. Good. But
I actually do think he is out, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, your point stands.
But I didn't know her, but I like their friendship. What did you think of her?
Oh, Courtney and Red Arrow. I actually think that for characters who, to my knowledge, this is their first interaction, Johns gives them some pretty good chemistry with each other.
Yeah, he does. He understands the thing that Busick was talking. I've talked about this with you. That Busick was saying you want the Water Code. Why his team book works? Because you see them hanging out.
Exactly.
It works. It's why Next Generation as a TV show kind of works over, though it's lame plot sometimes, because a lot of it is you get to know the characters. He's great with characters, and he's very deferential to the Golden Age characters, but still modernizes them. So I thought this was a great adventure. I like that. I had forgotten all about the cursed guns and stuff. I haven't read Justice Society in a long time, or Stars and Stripes in a long time. But that Lee still needed to die.
Yeah.
Which ends up making even more sense at the end of this whole arc.
Yep. Which is a great finale for the 6 issues.
Yeah.
Coming up.
So I thought this first issue, I think it rocked it. It was great. I liked the timing. I liked everything. This art is hopping. And you get hints at stuff.
Yep.
You see Hawkeye, you see Green Arrow in 3 different times.
Oh, including the Dark Knight Returns, missing an arm. Yep. One bit is I do like when they were talking of like when Ollie and Roy were back in time. Ollie did have to shave the beard because only villains had beards back then.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought that was a nice.
I like that throwaway. I like that a lot. I think that was a lot of fun. But that that the whole conversation about where Pat's telling her about Greg is out saving people still and doing and looking for things. Travis died, but Shining Knight has had even though he's been here for since the 30s.
Yeah.
He's got trauma because he's not in his own time, and that he just kind of sofa surfs amongst them. I was like, oh man, I don't remember catching that in the past, but that was a nice touch that they're still tight, but all the kids that fought with them are dead.
Yeah.
That I'd never done the math. Or damaged.
Yeah. It's like how the Teen Titans has like about as high a body count as the Suicide Squad sometimes. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The X-Men too. It's like, the modern thing, they got to die. The Avengers have it now. I think any team that's lasted over 30 years, it gets kind of out of control.
It does.
It does, because you have to kill them and bring them back. It's kind of like, do you watch Lower Decks?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the thing about don't ever ask them how they came back from the dead pisses them off.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation we could have, but yes.
But that's I like this. I thought it was good setup, and I did say we should talk about Golden Age, because Golden Age is part 2 of this.
Yep.
But it really, well, let's move on to that. This is more about Helena Wayne and the Justice Society. And in the Spring Break special, we see Wing with Cloud and a couple other people behind him. So we're seeing flashes of what's going to come. Johns has got it laid out.
Yep, and
who is it? It's the Cloud and Dan Dynamite.
Yes, and one thing is, when the Spring Break special, it came out not too long after the first issue of Geiger came out, so my faith in Johns was getting kind of restored at this point, after being at kind of an ebb for a decade, so...
Yeah,
it was very refreshing.
It was, and I liked. So what I want to talk about this, that he's trying to bring Helena back without undoing all the other fucking continuity. So
right,
this is
Helena has well established herself.
Yeah, I think some of the Helenas after the original Huntress are okay. Mm-hmm. I kind of like the costume with the cross. I kind of like that, and I kind of like there was a golden era of street level gritty DC heroes, and Dennis Cohen drew a shit ton of it for some reason. Didn't he draw Huntress for a time?
Yeah, he definitely drew. Yes, I'm pretty sure he did. And like for Helena Bernardelli, it's like she was such a part of Simone's Birds of Prey, which listen to our prior episode on that, to where it's like she's always entrenched as like, and she's the version I met first, so she's always kind of my Huntress, and I have to just remind myself.
My Huntress is the original, but I haven't minded the other one.
Which I get.
I also don't mind them changing continuity. You got to fix it. But I like that, she's from a possible future now, because that's the way time travel works. But there's a great thing about this issue, because it is basically, it's a trailer for Justice Society.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. But that it jumps from, like, is this Andy? Who's drawing it's not Andy Kubert. But the person who's drawing her as a kid at the beginning, you see Peter Degaton. And I kind of figured it was Degaton because of the red hair.
Oh, yeah.
But then when you get to Golden Age, it's Ordway.
Oh, and I just like seeing Ordway in a Welcome to Univar 2023. It's just...
Why isn't he... I don't know
why he isn't drawing... He might not be able to keep up, but it's like, I just want you all the time, Ordway. Please never go away.
No, at least do. But then you get a flash of the kids, Degaton and the kids, like he has something to do with it. I don't think he does. No, he doesn't at all, but they're kind of letting you think it is. The whole thing with Doc Fate, so good. Also, I like Scott Collins. That is Collins drawing the 30th Century Justice Society.
Yep.
What did you think of that?
I think part of like New Golden Age in particular and the Justice Society series is John's kind of thumbing his nose at Bendis's Legion run. Now, that's also in part Johns and Frank's fault for how long Doomsday Clock took to come out, but
Well,
you
also,
know,
I don't think they knew it was going. I think because I want to talk about. There's an ad on the app. That
okay.
ad is on the app for what would have been the Johns Hitch Justice Society that we were
Oh,
robbed of.
yes, I actually want
Robbed
to see
the
some of
fuck
that.
robbed of. Because that would have been fucking gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea that there's a Justice Society in the future.
Yeah, yeah, the Legion, like even in
Justice League
classic
doesn't
Legion,
exist anymore, but the Justice
yeah,
Society still does.
yeah, Justice Society still exists. The Legion exists. You have the Heroes of Lalor. Like one more team is not going to break the reality of the Legion.
Yeah, and I like that they're Degaton's killing Fates. I also like that in this timeline that heroes appear when they appear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, is she really from our future? Because in her, are we seeing old timelines that don't exist because of Degaton's tampering with them? Like there is a version, a 70s Justice Society.
Right. Which that is the part where in a book when you have time travel like this, if you want to be loosey goosey, and especially for later writers, if you want to say this did happen or this didn't happen, it's an easy way to kind of cut, pick and choose as you need it for
Yeah, and I just
continuity.
like them showing it. So they're showing the different eras.
Yep.
Okay, I was talking to Billy today earlier. Billy from Magazine's Monster, The World on Fire, folks. Was doing an episode of his show. I'm not gonna say what it was because it's not coming out till February. Uh, but I was talking about this new Fate, the Kid Doctor Fate. I love
Yes.
this kit version. I have put in my Starman folder in DC Infinite Ultra the run of this with this character Khalid. Is it Khalid?
Yeah, Khalid Nassour, who it was Levitt. Yeah, Levitt's created him,
Have you read
and it
any
was
of
a
that or
really.
looked at
Oh
it?
yeah, I have the whole issue. Yeah, I have the
Is
whole
it as
series.
good as it looks?
It's actually really good, and it has like the art style. I would say is very like Asterix and Obelix, like at a lot of points, which I think very much fit for the character.
But it's also
It,
not
it was
your
good. It
standard
was
Levitt's book, is it? It doesn't seem like it's.
so. This it felt very much like this same character, Paul Levitt's writing in the 1970s. It would have fit. It was like it was great to read a book by Levitz because this was after his return to Legion, where it's like, oh, you are a good writer still.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was trying to recreate Legion without redoing his own stuff. I think hurt him.
yeah,
And trying to, he could have just. I think we miss it. Some of them just miss it. It's like when Busiek comes back to write something. When he came back to write when he came and took Avengers over after the debacle that was Heroes Reborn, he didn't reinvent the wheel. He
no,
just wrote like what Roy wrote or what Englehart wrote or what like Burn, any of
mm,
them have written before was put a good team together, move the big guns in and out, and focus on the little guys so you can do stories about people. And I think that's where Levitz is stronger. I think his and Giffen's Legion is so good is that you knew every character was going to get a moment to shine.
exactly.
They all had their own personality. Even with the reboot, for the most part, they don't change the personalities. They do on
No,
certain characters, and it sucks in some way. But I think the reboot is as good as the original. I put them as
yes,
parallel. Everything after that is a pale shadow to two good runs, with ups and downs. They're
yeah,
great runs,
oh yeah, yeah.
but like I don't like Alchemist. He's not my element lad.
No, no,
He's not.
he's
I
not.
like the strong element lad. He's like I'm a survivor. I'm the only. He's why I like him is like why I like Scott Summers.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
a
actually gonna
character
say.
of trauma, but I am a positive leader,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I like him. It's like I like people. Scott is the best leader of the X-Men because he like Cap is leading is one thing. My trauma is secondary to leading,
Yep.
and it's just I'm not going to share it. I'm the be the and they whine in the background because Stan Lee created them.
Yeah.
But I like Khalid, and this is my favorite version of Detective Chimp.
Yeah, I really got to go back and reread Shadowpact. That was a series I really enjoyed.
I did too.
And
You know what? It's all on the app, I think. I think we need to read it and then do a Shadowpact episode.
Awesome.
Because it is one of those great team books that is forgotten, and there is so much of it lives on. This version of Detective Chimp, The Bar in Eternity, it's now
the Oblivion Bar.
The Oblivion Bar, that's
It's
Blue Devil being the
entrenched.
bartender.
Yeah, let's definitely put a pin in that to kind of do, because I can map that out for us really quick.
It's not that many issues, is it?
No, but there is like a Infinite Crisis lead-in to it, so I don't know if we want to cover that or if we just want to jump into
I would love
one.
to do it. Let's cover it all, because I think it's kind of why I do the podcast. It's one of the ones I've always gone, I got to talk about it. It's also want to talk about the Power Company, but that's not been reprinted and it's not on the app. It's a Busick team.
I've heard of it.
Dude, Power was in the thing that's leading into the All In.
Oh, okay.
Because the Manhunter, that modern, one of the clones, the Paul Kirk clones, was part of Power Company.
Oh, okay. Let's save Manhunter and Paul Kirk for like what I'm reading.
Yeah. But I like that they go to the bar. I like that you're seeing all these other Fate, and this redesign for the new. I think this is the best design of Fate in a decade or two.
Yeah, because if there's one downside to that Levitz run that I was talking about, again, I love it overall, but he is just wearing the Fate helmet and a blue hoodie, and it's like, but Fate has one of the best costumes in all of like comics, because it hasn't changed that much from the 40s to today. Yeah, it'll get more or less detailed over time, but
well,
it's so
I also
good.
didn't realize that there was a new person inhabiting the helmet. It's
that
not
I
Naboo,
forgot,
it's Hotet.
so I would have to go back and check.
Yeah,
on
well, it
that.
says that it's Hotet, and when that's the braces of Hotet is what Catwoman is stealing, and Dr. Fate has the vision of all the dead Fates in the tower.
Oh, I love that MC Escher-esque like double page spread where you see what's it like Jared Stevens. You see,
yeah, I'm looking at it right now, man. It's fucking amazing. I'm gonna save that image and share it before this is gonna get posted. This episode I'm recording and then posting it later today. But that's amazing because you kind of go through. There's Linda Strauss. There's
the Bendis Dr. Fate from his Legion, I think, is towards the bottom. The multi-armed one?
Yeah.
So, he's everybody in there.
Yeah, there's the empty costume one.
Hector Hall is there?
Hector Hall, yeah. They're everywhere.
Poor Hector
I love
Hall. It. Yeah. This, I think, is definitely, this is like the page to share. Nothing else.
Yeah, I like that Batman hasn't told Helene he's his father, and she stabs him when she thinks he's a burglar. Jesus Christ, Bruce! What have you done to this child?
I do like that apparently Bruce has gone back to the blue and the gray, which is the better color scheme for Batman.
Well, here's my thing about is I think she is a future Helena, and I think what Johns may have done is said but she's not the Helena of this universe. She because it's the timeline's wrong, and it's purposely wrong. So her dad looks like a comic book version, a more Silver Age version, or Bronze Age version. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%. And Catwoman is wearing the costume she has. So I like that in the future. Did you catch this? There's one line in this that I wanted to ask you about. Okay. One, they have two Joker cards, one male and one female. So the Joker's daughter eventually becomes the Joker.
Okay.
Or they're also talking, but there's one where Selena asks him, and she goes, something about what you did to the others, including the Joker's son. Like the Joker's son became a sidekick?
I can't. Yeah, that to me is a great comic book writer. Like, I'm just gonna see
this and walk away.
If I pick it up, great. If I never pick it up again, it's fine, because that's still a cool, cryptic idea, especially as we're looking at all of the Robin costumes from, because they've got Stephanie Brown's, They've got Tim Drake's, both like modern and current, and his Red Robin. They got the couple of Damian Wayne ones, which,
Yeah.
man, I don't like that new Damian Wayne costume, but that's, again, neither here nor
I'm
there.
falling in love with the Damian Wayne. I'm really starting to, because I think I watched that Super Sons cartoon movie.
Right.
Now I want to get that Super Sons, the latest version of that Super Sons Omni.
Yes, get it, because you'll understand why I'm so pissed off that they aged John Kent up unnecessarily, because he's never hit that peak again. Like, that is one of the few modern comic, like, that is a blue and gold.
Soap operas, it's the soap opera rule. They go to their room, don't show up for 8 weeks, and come down teenagers. So they can give them romantic, in soap operas, so they can start easing them into romantic storylines. Yeah, it's a weird, creepy fucking thing.
I don't like it. I don't like it when it happened to John Kent. I'll die on this hill.
I don't really like John Kent that much in what I've read. I don't think
once you read the Super Sons, you'll understand why I care.
Yeah, I think having him and Damian be the same age, but I have enjoyed the stuff that King's written with Trinity.
Okay.
That they're babies. They're the backup. The backup is basically she's younger than they are, so they have to babysit her. But when she's like 7 or 6 or 7, they fucking can't get her to go to sleep, so they take her to space on a mission.
Okay.
It's really a lot of fucking fun. And in the latest issue of Wonder Woman that's on the app, which is the one after Absolute Power and after Steve Trevor's been killed by the Sovereign, is the final scene is her creating Elizabeth Marston Prince, the child of her and Steve.
Okay. So sorry, Elizabeth. Okay, that I get the reference.
Yeah, it's his mother. They write it as that's his grandmother. That's Steve's grandmother, and he says, if we have a child, I'd like to call her Elizabeth Marston after my grandmother. She's why I am who I am.
So, this Corky, I was gonna say Corky Romano, but that's a movie.
Yeah, no. Okay, see, here's something. Corky's a twat.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think his point is to show a sidekick who is absolutely, unrepentantly, not a bad person, but has ulterior motives. That he's they're all these other kids that have been stolen from time are from an era where every hero had a sidekick, they've decided to say. And they're all positive, inspiring young people. They're all chipper, like 1940s movie characters.
Uh-huh.
And he's
Not
a
every
dick.
kid's like that.
And he's from the 50s, so his parents have everything, and they're going to become jaded hippie fuckers. That's because he's a 50s hero.
Yeah.
So he becomes the, screw the man. But all those guys became Reagan Republicans, and it fucked us. So, but there's a lot, and also there's this stuff from Doomsday Clock that's left over that is totally discarded after this.
Yeah, that's the one thing where that is the.
I read Doomsday Clock, and I'm not sure.
There's no. I don't know. Like, that's the one bit where this is definitely not new reader friendly. Is like that page.
Yeah, and I don't even know who the girl is. To say it's fangirl, and what I have to go back and look at.
It was like Marionette and Mr. Mime or something. That might be a Pokemon, but it was something like that. Where
she's a future version of that baby. She's a grown
child. No, I think that is actually their kid. Like, if I remember Doomsday Clock, like, it turns out they're pregnant, or she's pregnant, and that's just the baby, and they're living on the DC universe. Is what I thought was.
Okay, so that's it's discarded, but I do like. We see them time traveling. Everything starts moving faster, but we're actually seeing the day she finds out her father's been killed.
Yep, which I still need to find that Bronze Age Death of Earth 2 Batman story, because I think that's one of the few like Earth 2 holes in my reading.
Yeah, but this is not that. This is something different. He was killed by this superpower person on top of the Twin Towers. So this is a different death.
Okay.
Because this is not. She's not a hero. She doesn't become a hero until afterwards. here, and I like when she's hugging. Alan's still alive. He's old.
Yep.
I like bearded Alan.
I do too.
I think it suits his costume.
It really does. It helps fill him out a lot more.
Yeah, but I like we got cape. We got Fate that is only the head, the helmet, and the cape.
Yep.
We get to see Judy as the Flash.
Yep.
And we get to see an older Power Girl.
Yes, and throughout all of Johns' return here to Justice Society, even when they give her Power Girl the red jacket, he still writes actual Power Girl and not what's kind of going on in the modern series.
I really have not liked what's going on, but it's,
It's not for me. It is not for me, and I don't.
There's a new writer on it. I'm glad they have women writing it.
Sure.
That I'm fine. So I'm going to give the new all in because they have a new creative team.
Okay.
So
if that's the case, I might poke back in. But
yeah. So what was great about this, it had who's, and I heard some people talk about it, and some of them had good things and bad things. One, overall, I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, the history, they wrote it, they planned it out. One, it starts with the Golden Age Aquaman. Fuck you, everybody. There was so it's just John stirring the pot.
Yeah.
Because there is a debate out there about was there, wasn't there, was it, wasn't it? Jesus, who cares? There's this thing about he just put it in there at the end of All Star to be a dick. Yeah, he did. Good. And he disappeared. He showed you that because Aquaman never stopped. It's Aquaman. Yeah. What is it? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and Aquaman never stopped being published.
Yep, and like even Johnny Quick lasted longer than Jay Garrick somehow, briefly.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think there's some that you're surprised how long they lasted, like Mr. Terrific and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I like it that his brief alias was Adam Waterman, whatever. And I like that they write in it that he was offered a slot in the Justice Society and declined, but he did join the All-Star Squadron.
As per All-Star Squadron like 31 or whatever, where he shows up there too.
Yeah, and he disappeared in the 1950s. But I don't. So, how many of these are brand new? All of these are brand new, right? Yeah.
Let's see. Betsy Ross, Molly Pitcher, or
Mr. Miracle is not.
No, and that's the one I wanted, but it bugs me because they say Mr. Miracle #1, Volume 1, all of this is correct, 1941. No, he first 1971. Just put the 1971. Sorry.
Well, I like that they put him in specific issues, like it's been stripped from the comic, like that issue cover of the cover with issue 10 of the Flash. That is the cover, except they've added her.
Yep.
So I like Molly Pitcher. Betsy Ross and Molly Pitcher. So wait a minute. So the Pitcher makes weapons. So what's Betsy Ross's power?
I actually didn't read all the text on these. So I
kind of like that one was that I just remember I was rereading it. It's like, oh, so the Pitcher you pour it out, it makes weapons. Molly able to create weapons and tools. Betsy had a degree of enhanced strength, speed at times, flight using the Pitcher. Okay, so they both get different powers from the Pitcher. Oh, okay.
Totally cool with that.
I'm fine with that. Cherry Bomb. Bingo. I like that these are all people of color.
Yeah.
I think that is an important statement. And to retroactively add some from the 40s makes a lot of sense. I love her. I like her origin. I did read that one that, the Harlequin's son.
He was like a cut character from Infinity Inc.
He was designed for Facility. It was an Ordway designed him, and he was supposed to be exactly as in origin. He's the Harlequin's son, and Alan Scott's his dad. He's like an illegitimate child of John Henry Jr. I posted this, and they're like, they brought back the John Henry from New Frontier 6. Yeah, and it's the only one that gets the actual first appearance right.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. Let's see this. He's a ancestor of Steel.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying, wait, John Henry Irons.
No, John Henry's older brother was Butter Irons, the grandfather of. He's the great uncle of Steel.
Okay, Kirby, it would help if you actually read the goddamn text. It explains your only question.
Yeah.
That's on me.
uh, Judy Garrick, the Boom, is she better keep appearing.
I yeah. So if we're talking character, again, everyone in their own head has like kind of a cutoff of like characters who are and aren't canon. Judy is one of those few who, to me, is in my own head canon of
She
the
knew
DC
that
universe.
if you read this that she fought the Shade, the Thinker, but the Turtle's son named the Tortoise is her best friend. That's great. That's who's got the flower. She's. I love Ladybug. I forgot she had so much more to do in this.
I know. And arguably sidekick that's more powerful than the hero she's a sidekick to.
Oh yeah. And I also like that she's her and Quiz Kid, who's a great one for Terry Sloan, Salem, and the the younger Red Lantern is gonna show up. She's in the Injustice Society, Injustice Gang, or whatever they're calling it. Overall, I love this. I think there's like, wait, hold on, make sure I got some. This is also where he doubles down on Hal being gay earlier on.
Oh yeah.
And I want to touch on this, that I like that it was handled, that Woozy says this. There's just in the first couple panels, it's getting too close to everyone. What would the others think, Derby? What would they say? If your friends in the JSA are anything like me, Alan, they say, so what? All right, good. We're done.
Yep.
Move on.
Yep, perfect.
I
just wish that Alan Scott miniseries was better.
Was it? Yeah, but I think it's just...
It was so slow.
That's
so
my
slow.
problem with it. It's slow. I'm going to read it as a trade or read it all in one sitting and then kind of make a decision. Because I do want to map. I do want to kind of sit down and do my first map out of an Omni, and I'm talking a Golden Age Omni that has this, Justice Society, and the three five-issue miniseries.
Yep.
I think it'd be a great omnibus. So,
yeah.
And what did you think of the new Legionnaire? We eventually find out that he's Kid Mordro. That's how I'm going to refer to him as.
That's actually a really good name. Yep. Perfect. Again, see my earlier comment of Johns in the Legion. I think I just like full, just blacked out bars everywhere. It's almost like in one of the Who's Who from the 90s where it was Neil Gaiman's death, and it's like just everything was crossed out. It's like, look, you'll meet her someday. I like when you play with it.
What I like about this, it's a big secret, but it's the same gag he used, that same trick he used in his one of the first Legion story, Justice Society stories he wrote, where, yes, of course it makes sense that Mordru in the past would fight the Justice Society and not the Justice League.
Yeah. Of course.
To me, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you kind of touch about
Mordru.
all of them and how it changes and how in the future he's a member of the 30th Century Justice Society against a Legion. We don't know which Legion it is because they don't show us.
No.
And I think that's great. And that there's a Solomon Grundy. So I think Johns tweaked the ending of 12.
Yeah.
To tie it up and made it all about Courtney.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that this leads into that. This is definitely a lot to do with Courtney and the lost children. But overall, we talked a lot about the Golden Age. It's a lot to talk about. It was good to talk to somebody else about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really good intro into... I just think it's a really good intro into the story. It sets it up. I think the time travel, I think a lot of people read it as, oh, this is all exactly what's happened in the past. And I think since it's a time travel story, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was showing us possibilities.
Yeah, it's like Doctor Who. You can kind of pick and choose sometimes on the timelines there.
Yeah, and I do want that there is some... Hold on, I got to go back to this. I thought it was in here. I thought that ad was... Oh, it's not in here.
Brian Hitch.
Yeah, it's not in here. What's it in? Is it in the...
I have it here somewhere. I saw it yesterday. Was it in? No, I think it was in the back of the Stargirl special.
Oh, that's special. Right, because I read this in my trade and in the app. That's God. That Green Lantern costume redesign and that Hourman redesign.
my God, the Hour Man. And
Just
I'm
needs
just
a
gonna say,
cape. Just needs a cape.
it needed a cape. It does need a cape. But I'm also like, I'll be honest, Cyclone it was kind of one of my early comic book crushes, so I'm glad that they were going to keep her around.
I think not having her. I think not having. Well, we'll get to the end because I have my hope in the future is for Courtney because she's not in Justice Society. So we had those two comics and then Lost Children came out.
Like 2 years later.
2 years later. No, 2 years after the spring break, but about 6 months after the.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I take it back. So Golden Age came out November 8th, 2022. Spring Break Special came out November 15th, 2022. So.
Oh, they're that close together.
At least according to Mike's Amazing World.
Okay, so. And this came out in 2023. Lost Children.
No, 2022.
Okay.
Cover dated January 2023.
Okay. So one.
Back to ToddNauk full time.
Oh my God! And it's okay. So the opening sequence is TNT and Dan Dynamite, right?
Yeah, Dan Dynamite fighting guys with Fox and Crow masks.
And Dynamite. It's TNT and Dynamite.
Yep. Which just real quick, I want to put a pin for those two mask guys. I want to pitch something to you after we done recording.
Okay. I like how the powers have changed a little bit.
Okay.
That's not the way they worked before. He didn't get all explodey. He just could punch and stuff like that.
That makes sense because I've only ever read him in Robinson's Golden Age mini.
Oh my God! You got to read. He's in the TNT dies at the beginning of Young All Stars, so Dan Dynamite's got both rings.
Okay.
So yeah, and the first half of Young All Stars is excellent. The second half is. I would like to read it now as a nerd just to see what he was trying to wedge in there and see how it worked. I like Iron Monroe, but I also, I like that group of team. I like that. I thought he should have just done that instead of. He should have just put another all-star team together and just kind of really underuse his JSA members as all-star squadron.
That's what he should have done, and he just threw a hissy fit. So
he did. It's just a temper tantrum. It depresses me, and I understand. It's just he could have just leaned into it and shaped. He could have really shaped more. I think they would have allowed him to get away with more than he thinks he would have. He just he wanted to. I think he felt some ownership of. I want my Batman. I want my Superman. But you weren't using them.
No, you used Batman.
I don't think he was allowed
three times.
Was he allowed to?
Yeah, but it's like you barely use Batman, Superman. Maybe you could count with a few fingers remaining. Wonder Woman, same deal. It's like we're not here talking All-Star Squadron. There's plenty of other places.
I'm going to cover them, but I'm waiting until World on Fire's coverage is 4 or 5 years old. I liked how this was meant to look like a 4-color comic.
Yes.
And then we get to see Dan as an old man because we knew he's an old man because he was in Old Justice.
Which I still need to read that part. There's a lot of Young Justice I have not read yet, and that's one of the things I know existed, but I haven't read yet.
Yeah, I was very amazed by that the first Omni really doesn't get that deep in the run of Young Justice itself.
Because probably...
because its first big event is early on. Where they all turn into they turn into adults, and the adults turn into kids.
Which is where I think I first ever saw ToddNauk was a trade of like that.
Did you fall in love immediately?
Yeah, pretty much because I like a cartoonish style.
He's Sal. There's a lot of Sal in here. I think there's a lot of Sal in his work.
Yep.
But when we get to Courtney, I like the flashbacks and all that, but when we get to Courtney, we're talking next level art in this.
Yes. And her mother is beyond reasonable in this, where it's like, look, if you're fighting the Ultra Humanite, you can join the JSA to fight him, but otherwise you're grounded. And it's
I do too. It's like, and later on when she goes, when they're hinting there's going to be a third team, she goes, you're already on 2 teams. And I'm like, Justice League, Justice Society, and... I like that they were fighting the Solomon Grundy, her in Red Arrow.
Oh, yep. Because what, she snuck out in the middle of school day to do.
Yeah. Like she goes, and when did you get Solomon Grundy? Grundy always born on Monday. Smart. My mother would give me a stink eye.
Oh.
Because that's pretty. I like seeing Pat. I don't know when the Star became sentient. The staff, I mean.
I was gonna ask you that because I don't remember that either.
I have to read more of some of the other stuff she's been in because I've not read. I want to see what she's in and maybe see what I met. But Dan the Dynamite, yeah, okay. I like this. This is great. This first chapter, they go to Dan's house. They find pictures of people they don't remember. That wing is the central part. And then they get airwave. We find out it's airwave, but they get communicated. And this first chapter is great because it ends with Dan's an old man. He takes a boat to this lost island, lands on it, and is a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's great. So issue 2 you have issues with. So
yeah.
I'm going to let you. One, I loved it because it was all these pretty pictures of all the different things. It's a big info dump. I went back and checked to see if any of these, half of the villains in here are made up for this issue.
Okay.
Some are not. The Dart is actually down toward the bottom. The Bullseye is the clown with the bullseye, but the Red Arrow and the Monkey have never been seen before. But I like that you have the Spider, Merlin, and some other archer who I don't know.
Okay.
But I like that it's a Batcave, and especially since there's this one point where Stargirl, what is it? Stargirl says it. Your brother really wanted to be Batman, didn't he?
Yep. I will say Ollie has one up on Bruce in that he has an aeroplane, and that level of pun delights me.
Yes, I do like that. You know, they find a broken boxing glove. Yeah, I broke a bow trying to shoot it.
Before it even went 10 feet.
Yeah. So I liked it, and it's beautiful art, but it is a huge info dump.
It's an info dump. It's a lot of, and you said, like, you know, coffee table discussions between characters is what you need, but it's like you could I felt you could easily kind of condense this, and you could have brought in this could have been like half of an issue where they just kind of start on the boat and you get kind of the necessary bits, because there's just kind of a lot of repeating of stuff we already got from the first issue and the third. And it's like, it's the lost children, but we barely kind of see them. Like, we see Airwave, who I have now read more of his like old Action Comics backup, so I am more familiar with him now than when I think I first read this.
Yeah, and what got me was he plays a prominent part in Absolute Power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a neat trick. You bring him in, it's like, why are you using him?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he? You show that he got lucky and didn't get captured, but then Nightwing goes, oh, no, you're with me. And he's like, what? We're going to confront Waller. Why am I coming?
Yeah, no,
you know? But you find it why is because he shoots out, he transmits her confessing to everything because she's sent out fake news. And It's fucking brilliant, and it's seated right at the beginning. And after reading this so he's the Golden Age. He is. Where was he stolen from? Is this Hal's younger cousin?
That's what I thought it was.
It is. So he was stolen from somewhere more recently.
Right, like call it quote unquote the 70s era.
Or and because Cloud is in there too, and she's a more modern hero.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I liked it.
And I think, okay, this might just be my own preferences, but as soon as the Eggman showed up on the beach, my brain immediately went to the Prisoner.
Yeah, oh, definitely, it's the Prisoner. I was thinking the same thing. But I also like, so I was ready for some of the characters because we saw, we're going to see, I wasn't sure if we were going to find them alive or dead, so I thought it was a little like Lost.
Okay.
So I thought they were seeding it so, we don't know who's on the island.
Oh, and I want to say this. It's a couple pages before that. It's as soon as Courtney and Emiko land on the beach. I don't think this is normal sand, Emiko. it looks like Miraclo, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know who's going to be showing up later in the series.
Yeah, I didn't catch that and think of it, and then we're going to talk about that reveal when we get to it. But I liked it. I thought 2 was fine. It's definitely, if you're reading it in order, in a chunk,
It's fine,
it's
but
fine.
it's
It's
still
world building. You need it. But I like,
it's still decompressed a little bit for me.
yeah. But I think from then on, everything moves
Yeah, oh,
3
then
times as
then
fast.
then we're clicking.
Yeah, yeah. I like that the first heroes we meet are Wing, Cherry Bomb, Airwave, and Robbie the robot dog.
Oh yeah,
Um,
thank God they remembered Robert Crane.
well, they mentioned Robin Crane in the original. Yeah, I like that. So we get to see him, and we get to see. I think the Childminder, is one of the best villains created in the last 10 years.
Oh my God, it's so creepy, like just this Baba Yaga-esque villain. Like, oh, they need to use her more. Have her team up with like Granny Goodness and just like the most disturbing story you could ever imagine.
Oh yeah, I got work. So I love it. I posted the 2-page spread, and which is when you're at the that these are all very positive 1940s characters. So they're
Yep.
living, they're working communally for the greater cause. You know, I like it. And this is another info dump. This is a big info dump where they introduce
Yep.
you to everybody, but the nerd in me loves it. I like that they added. So is Famous Bobby new for this?
Okay, that was one I was trying to remember because my '90s Superman. I know the like not Cat. No, it is Cadmus. Cadmus, and like they brought the Newsboy. I thought she might have been from like '90s Superman comics because
Hold on.
I wasn't familiar with her.
Well, why don't you? I'm gonna go look her up
Okay.
real quick.
Um.
And
Yep. So
but what did you think about these introductions for everybody? Was it worth
I
it to get them?
I think it is because like that's really what this is. This is introducing a whole bunch of new characters, reintroducing some old ones you haven't seen in a while. So you have the full Newsboy Legion. You have TikTok, John Henry Irons, and it's it's more of a showcase for ToddNauk's art more than anything, and that's never a bad thing
No, I don't
with
think it
any
is
of
either.
these.
But I mean, they're great design. I think these are great designs. Every last one of them. Clarion, I hope she sticks around. I know WizKid. And then we meet Corky some more, and he's a bit of a prat.
Yep.
And then we get the reveal of Boom, even though we're going to see her. I kind of figured that was like, oh, I'm running. I've got a machine. So, and we're in the halfway point, and now it just really picks up speed. Okay, we get issue 4, where this is where I learned the timeline, where a lot of
Okay.
this happens. So they're going through. They see what we're going. We're watching Courtney and the Time Masters in their 50s costume. Barry fucks up the universe by creating Flashpoint. That causes Doomsday Clock. And then there's the Divine Continuation, which is where they took the 5G and kind of explained how it created the Omniverse, which created the multiverse and the dark multiverse, and Earth Zero, which they're not calling Earth Prime.
Yeah.
And then you had the Hyper Time, which caused Limbo and the Vanishing Point, which is good because that brings all those Jurgens characters back, and I'm happy.
Yep. Yep.
But they add that, and then Flashpoint Beyond, then this. So if you want to read it, you could read all that. I think you have to be a hardcore Johns fan like me to even attempt it.
Yeah.
Because I do like Flashpoint. I don't like what DC did with it afterwards.
Yeah, and I don't think
I think Rebirth is a terrible miscalculation that did more damage than good, and it's taken them 15 years to dig out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Rare.
but I like her as a villain. I like seeing Judy and how she would go back in time.
Yeah, because like she's born 1945, so she's traveling like from 1962 to show up before her birth. So, which is just a fun little, like that's a fun Flash story quirk that makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, it does, and that would be the thing. If you were buying a comic book in the 50s or you're buying a comic in the 40s. Oh, this little girl, I'm your future daughter. Let's go on adventures, Dad. So,
Yeah, this one's. Okay, so the show American Dad, they once did an episode where they traveled back in time, and they gave this huge long explanation. It's like, oh wait, did Back to the Future come out? Yeah. Oh, then you get it. What we're saying. Sorry. Uh,
Uh, so I like that. It was neat to see. It was neat to see The Secret. It was.
yep.
And the end of 4, we get the reveal of the big bad, and it is the android Hourman.
Who I have a little figure of here right now.
He is one of my favorite. That is one of the greatest runs ever.
Yep.
And I was a little like, please don't make him a baddie. Please don't make him a baddie. Please don't. I had a little fan issue where it's like, do not fuck up this character.
Yep.
Do not make him a villain. I'm fine with Hal. I'm fine with others, but don't make him a bad guy.
It's like I knew by the end of it he was going to be back to normal. That was just kind of, I know John. I trust Johns enough. Again,
Not to fuck up one of his characters. Is that his character?
No, I think it was actually a Morrison character originally, and then
Tom
Pyre wrote the ongoing. Was it Tom Pyre? I think it was Tom Pyre.
Yeah.
And then Johns wrote him in the JSA like at the same time. So again, back to trusting Johns, especially for this like kind of a niche character, but he's so good. And he's got one of the best like late '90s costumes. Designs.
All right. So Famous Bobby was first appeared in Guardians of Metropolis Volume 1, Number 1, created by Carl Kessel and Kieran Dwyer. This is the first appearance of the Prime Universe Famous Bobby.
Gotcha. So she was like a Triangle era character then.
Yeah, that's a good comic. That Guardians of the some of those miniseries back then, they better be in the Triangle era omnis.
I have really got to map out where my 90s for back issue hunting.
Yeah. Oh, there's some gaps. I'm not looking forward because basically you can read. Is there a gap between Exiles in Space and Death and Life of Superman? I think there are gaps. Who cares? But that's another thing because I do want to cover the Triangle era at some point. But I'm gonna start a reread. But I liked in issue Part 5, Man and Woman of the Hour. I like that the double page spread. There are a lot of double page spreads in this, which was nice.
Yeah, and
but the one with the heads on the top and bottom.
Well.
Huh?
Normally, I hate double page spreads because I think it's a waste of space, but they use them very well here.
Oh, they cram shit into them. So there's
exactly
the lineup heads.
Oh, I love it. I'm a sucker for it every single time.
Yeah, this is great. I read these on the app so I could see them together. But this is great because the fight, most of the other heroes, the kids get rescued or captured, so you're stuck with Airwave, Cherry Bomb, Wing, the dog,
Salem,
Quiz Kid, Salem, and what is her name? Redheaded.
I think it's just like Little Miss Redhead.
Little Miss Redhead. She is a real comic book character.
I think because is she with Little Boy Blue?
Yeah. She's part of Little Boy Blue.
Okay, because I think I only know them through the Who's Who entries.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I liked her. I think it's a very formous Little Miss Redhead. No, this is her first appearance.
Oh.
They just added. Why would you add it? Hold on. Lost Children 3. Yeah, she's just. It's maybe she. Who? Little Miss Redhead was created by Frank Harry. First appeared in Sensation Comics. Oh, this is the first. However, in the Prime continuity, Little Miss Redhead first appeared as part of the new DC Stargirl law. Okay. So no, she was from Sensation Comics. So.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, it was Little Boy Blue and the Blue Boys, and she was like their adult supervision. Okay. She's Rita Hayworth.
Not much
in a
more
costume.
Adult.
Yeah, she's Rita Hayworth in a costume. So.
Yeah.
But I like this in that you think Hourman's the bad guy, and then they break. Oh yeah, Judy gets free because Red Arrow teaches her that she can vibrate.
Yep.
It doesn't work the same way, but then she frees. Is Sparky the the sidekick of Blue Beetle, a Bronze Age, a Golden Age, or Silver Age Blue?
I think he's brand new to this. this is what I should have done last night. I was pretty busy, so I wasn't able to do research for this. But I will, just while you're looking that up real quick.
Yeah, I'm going issue by issue, but I like him. I knew Pinky.
Yep.
And
I like Nox. Super speed for Judy, but yes, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but I like. Okay, he's in the next issue. Hold on a second. I got to get the issue.
Yeah, Mr. Scarlet. I only know Pinky and Mr. Scarlet from that JLA JSA crossover.
Not that crossover is Finest Hour. Let's see. Where is he? What's he named? Sparky? No.
Let's see. Sparky, sidekick to Dan Garrett. Yeah, the Blue Beetle.
Okay, so. Yeah, was created by Alan Ormer and first appeared in Blue Beetle 14. However, the Prime Earth continuity. Okay, yeah, he was a real one.
Okay. Oh, okay. What? So he is new, or he was old.
He was old, yeah. So I guess that would have been in the 50s because the Blue Beetle. I don't know. That's something Nick should collect. I'd like to see some of that. I think it's been collected by one of the art houses.
Yeah, I would love if DC would collect the Charlton Ted Cord Blue Beetle stuff, because I'd really like to read that.
Yeah, I would too.
As well.
Yeah, I think they've got to have it. So I like that 5 ends up with, Our Man being the bad guy, and then we get some more. We get his history told over one page.
Which starts with a little Jack cameo.
Oh yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's from that first arc where they're on his time. I loved his time ship was a Viking ship.
Oh, it's so cool.
It is, but I like this. This last issue is full out action all the way through. We finally get to see what the Childminder looks without her mask, and he does a page, and it's horrific.
It's gross. It is grody.
She is such a great villain. We find out that Corky's hat isn't a hat. It's a rat. It's a vicious fucking raccoon. Oh, that's his. That's my buddy. Go get him, Crockett.
Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
Yeah, Jesus. But I like this, and it becomes it's a battle with all of them in it. Dan Dynamite. We find out that Ladybug can shrink and all this, but it's told through Stargirl jumping through the action.
Yeah, over 4 pages. It's great. Again, just all the action is just jam-packed. Nauk is doing his best. He is channeling Perez to the nth degree in this book, in this series.
Yeah, he is. And I like it that so she gets the Our Man. He grabs her staff. Everything's going crazy. The time vortex is open, and out walks angry 90 version of Corky. I think that's do you think that's what he's doing? Don't you think?
Oh yeah, no. It's like whenever I've read actual 90s and Rip Hunter himself shows up, and it's like, and he looks like Cable. It's like, oh my god, 90s, damn it.
Yeah, well, I like that Time Masters 12-issue mini.
Sure, that might be fine. I'm saying design wise.
No. But I like it. It's Courtney. He's like, I didn't want to do this. He's kind of upset about it. He's a bit of a jerk, but he's like, this is what I want. And he grows up to be the bad guy. And I like the workaround. Quiz Kid fixes the android's body by taking out the bad thing, and they put it. It's a good climax. All the heroes get the thing. They save Our Man, and then Corky pushes fucking Wing into the he throws him into the vortex, because the big thing that has to still happen is he has to die. Wing has to die.
Yep.
So everything that happened, and that really pays off that spring break.
It does.
Reading this in one stretch, it's like, oh, he still has to make that sacrifice. And I love that 2-page spread where he's holding on to the staff, so's Courtney, and then all the other heroes are like in a pyramid holding on to each other, trying to pull him back.
No one gets left behind. Oh my! I could not afford the original art of this 2-page spread, but I would love to have it.
I would too. Just a just a poster of it. And then I like, they land in Courtney's front yard in Blue Valley. All right. Cover that up, people. Oh, and the girls had the egg.
I noticed that this time, and I don't think that ever got paid off, or at least not yet.
I like that Courtney is wearing a Crimson Avenger t-shirt.
Oh, I didn't catch that the first time. That's not
Neither
nice.
did I.
Nice.
I caught it this time. They go and they put flowers on his grave.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear, then the meeting where we see what's going to happen in Justice League 6, where Judy is brought to the thing. And we find out all that stuff on the bulletin board has been erased. And Young Justice Society.
Look, I'm such a 52 fanboy, and just that Rip Hunter chalkboard, I analyzed that for hours when I was a teenager.
I love it. And in the back of this, they have the variant covers and some of the character designs.
Oh, okay. I don't have that.
Yeah, the variant cover to issue 4 it's supposed to be Flash 10, and they've added Judy to it.
Okay, because I only have like the one where it's her reading that.
Yeah. So I loved it. I think this holds up. I think it's finally a good something. It's nice to put another volume next to Stars and Stripes volumes 1 and 2.
Yep.
That there hasn't been other Stargirl series, because they really leaned into her in the early 2000s and the 2010s. I got a new 52 figure. They used her. I think she should be prominent, and I think it's a missed opportunity. I would love that if Lemire would show us a Young Justice Society.
I would absolutely you can. Because it is a shame that most of these characters did kind of immediately go back into limbo after being created.
Quiz Kid showed up in a Superman that had, that was in the Justice Society, because they go and you meet that he has a sidekick now.
Right, because, and this is something I had confused. I thought we had also been introduced to Michael Holt's, again, previously unborn child, but I think that was in Jeremy Adams' Flash run.
And that's who his sidekick is, isn't it?
Yeah, again, pretty sure on that.
I need to read that, Jeremy. That's real. Everybody tells me it's really good.
It's solid. It is a very solid, like, hey, we're fixing Wally after Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But,
yeah, I am too. But
yeah, so overall, I think this holds up. I think it's one of the best things he's ever written.
You can tell when Johns wants to write a book versus when he has to write a book, and this is a Johns wants to write this book.
And you know what? I think when I get the second hardcover of Justice Society, I'm going to read it straight through, and then I'm going to convince David and you and see if we can get someone else in, and the Forest can say, does it hold up? I think it will work as a whole.
Yes.
I think some of the pacing issues are that. I think DC sabotaged it too. I think they delayed it and delayed it and delayed it because they were pissed. I think that played into it. I think it did. And I think it also Johns got busy, because I don't blame him for creating Ghost Machine.
Oh God, no.
Because everything is good.
Yeah.
I don't read horror comics. Hyde Street and Devour are fucking great.
Yep.
So I think that's I loved it. I think it's gonna all lean up, and I'm doubling down. The Junkyard Dog is Junkyard Joe hardcover's coming out.
Yeah.
And I got the Geiger, and it's a gorgeous hardcover.
That's great.
So I'm going to do that and then probably sell my Junkyard Joe run, because I got $40 for my Geiger first run.
Nice. I'm keeping all of those. I'm having a Ghost Machine short box dedicated. Like
it's building up. Everything's been good.
Red Coat's been really good. Hyde Street, you said. Rockefellers. That's Tomasi, but that first issue just came out. That was really entertaining. Okay, I won't spoil it. Again, it's Peter Tomasi and Francis Manipal doing a book. That's a winning combination for me.
Yeah, that's the Flash. He's the guy, he's the artist on the Flash Omni I was thinking about getting.
Oh yeah, because I think it was him in when the New 52 started or close to it.
Okay,
So
that's cool. But
yeah,
yeah, I want to re-examine Golden Age. I think Johns, some of the best stuff Johns has written has been in recent years has been Junkyard Joe and Geiger.
yeah. Oh, big
Um,
time.
I'm enjoying Redcoat, the history nerd in me, and the Alan Moore level conspiracy shit, like really stupid conspiracy shit. But I think
I'm
that's why
fine
they
with it.
picked it. Yeah, I
Yep.
think they're picking it because it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
silly, but
Rook Exodus was fun, like a science fiction comic.
I'm really enjoying that. I was
Yep.
surprised. I thought I'd give it one issue, but
It,
you know.
I think that's one of the few that's going to be like a mini series or series of mini series more than anything.
Well, I think they're doing arcs and pausing like.
Yeah.
But Geiger went into the next story with.
Paul Pelletier, who it's like,
No
okay, if I
shit.
can't,
Thank God. Where the fuck has he been?
I
Because I
know.
love him. I love him. So, where would you rank this as a Star Wars? Is this better than Stars and Stripes?
Yeah, this is better than Stars and Stripes, just
Okay.
because it's like Stars and Stripes for all. Like again, I like Lee Motor's art in it. I like Johns, but that was still a very young Johns. This is a Johns who's a much more experienced writer. He knows what he wants to do, even if he, again, maybe gets stretched a little too thin. This has a story to tell, and ToddNauk is fucking phenomenal.
It is.
I don't think.
Yeah, the art is just it's next level. It is just so next level for him. It's him doing he I don't think he's rushed.
Nope.
He's inking himself.
Yep, which is always really good. And I don't think there was even that much of a delay in this miniseries, or maybe a month at most.
I think
But I don't remember.
yeah, I think he knows how to knock it out. I think he's
Yeah.
a pro, and I don't have a problem with it. I think it was great. I loved it. I loved it, and it was good to reread it. And I'm glad we chatted about it, and I didn't wait because this is just it's too good. It's too good to. It was just too good to not to wait until we. I don't think we could cover this at JSA at one time.
No, that would be like a 3-hour talk session all at
Yeah,
once,
yeah.
and
I don't
that's too
think
much for
that's
anyone.
so. All right, so I'm gonna do my recommendations real quick because they're at the top of my head. One, Ghost Machine. Please check out Ghost Machine. Um, I have been jumping around and reading, and I think you should check the all in. If you have the app or you had a chance, check some of the all in DC stuff. I think DC has not been this good in a long, long time. I think they're so above Marvel right now. It's amazing. It's not even close. I think
No.
they've made some really good choices. They lost a lot of talent
Mm-hmm.
to Johns,
To Ghost Machine.
to Ghost Machine, but I think they're moving people around. Adams is Triton Green Lantern. That makes me want to go read his Flash. I think they're just moving people to different characters to refresh everything, and I think that's a good way to do it. So I'm just going to say check the All In. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
And for me, I've been doing a lot of reading a bunch of stuff here and there. The big one I want to talk about is the original Secret Society of Supervillains run. The late 70s, all in the late 70s, there's a big victim of the DC implosion. It was such a great series I was able to put together relatively quickly because it's like, they were able to have like, okay, here's kind of our main cast, but we can change villains out as we need to. And we're going to give Captain Comet something to do for the first time in 20 years and make him interesting and have him definitely sleep with Star Sapphire in a way that I'm positive the editors were not paying attention to or the comics code were. Because I just wish it had continued on almost indefinitely because it was also just a really good Justice League of America book mixed in with it.
Yeah, it was. And so you read the issues, right?
Yeah, individual issues. So I know
Okay,
there's
so
two that were in the
do you
Cancel
have the
comics
stuff
that I
that
have
goes
not.
after it?
Nope, none of the two ones I know were reprinted in like those recent collections.
Well, but there's also some giant size stuff too. Some of the DC specials are in there. Yeah, hold on. I'll send you the list and then you'll be pissed. It's it because both the hardcovers because they were only put out in hardcover.
Right.
And the second one is like impossible to find. But I will the one good thing about the Ultra app
Mm-hmm.
is that they have hardcovers on that level. I like that. There's some good stuff in it. The Secret Society of Supervillains. I wish I had sold those 2 hardcovers, but I was very happy to see them both in
The app.
the app so I could read it again. Because
That
that's where I found Captain Comet, and my brother was like, here's some obscure group of people. Well, okay. So I'm glad I had a brother that the weirder shit is sometimes the funner shit.
Exactly, and I liked having a lot of like the jobber villains having leading the book where it's Copperhead and Captain Boomerang, and it's not Lex Luthor or Joker or Cheetah, blah blah, and it's like, oh, that gets old quick.
But
But
it's definitely something to recommend, folks. If you have the app, it's on there in the collections. It's the nice thing about the Ultra is that you have access to certain trades. So if there's a missing issue or something, it's in there, which is weird.
Or be a nut job like me and back issue hunt, whichever one floats your boat.
Well, that's probably how hard was that to find all those?
Actually, not too hard. I found like issue 1 kind of randomly, and then issue 2, same thing. And then I got then the rest of the series I found all at one shop for reasonable prices for all of them, and so I could put that together within the space of like 2 months, and that's after not looking really hard.
Well, that's cool. It's an obscure book. Sometimes those are the hardest to find.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, Kirby. So, folks, you're going to hear this, and then on Tuesday, you're actually going to hear a Starman, an Opal City Confidential with the next 2 chapters of the Will Payton era. And hopefully I can get back on track a little bit with Opal City at least. So I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go a weekend without a regular Stop Let's Team Up. But I appreciate y'all listening. I appreciate Kirby coming on. And hey, be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another. And read some comics. Read some Stargirl.
Bye, everybody.